The chairman has asked me to remind everyone that no personal attacks on the character or reputation of county employees, department heads, or any official will be tolerated. Any speaker doing so may be ruled out of order by the chair. I'll call the names in order that they appear on the sign-up sheet, and when you come to the podium, please state your name and your municipality of residence. James Exton.
James Exton, Butler Township. The state transportation bill was passed this summer to raise money for the roads, bridges through a hike in our gasoline tax. Most Pennsylvania residents are aware of that tax increase. Not so well known was an amendment to the bill that gave counties the option of taxing all truck, car, trailer, motorcycle registrations an additional $5 per year. This new tax would go directly to the county that implements it. The other two commissioners are currently debating the option to increase that tax. I am not. I repeat, I am not. I've already made my decision. No new taxes that aren't absolutely necessary. This action is not necessary. From Marcellus Shale drilling in our region, Butler County has realized a benefit of roughly $1.25 million in 2011, $1.25 million in 2012, and $1.75 million in 2013. In addition to the impact fees, the royalties from Sunnyview Farm for gas extraction in 2014 was approximately $1.5 million. This grand total equals $4.75 million. This windfall is a blessing for the taxpayers of Butler County. Our state legislators did a fine job when they passed Act 13, or the wellhead tax for shale gas in our Commonwealth. The majority of these fees were passed back to the county and municipal level, where I feel it's our duty to institute better accountability and less waste. We must prove our fiscal austerity and responsibility to those that elected us and who we serve. The state legislators gave us that privilege. It's our duty to manage the task. I know I'm up to the task. The question lies with my colleagues. Are they up to the task? If McCary and Pinkerton drive the $5 registration fee through, it will amount to over a $1 million tax increase every year in perpetuity. It's one thing if we didn't have Act 13 money to repair and replace our bridges and provide the necessary services, but we do. The only reason I would ever consider this option would be if the Act 13 monies were repealed. I would not throw the burden of the county's bridges on the backs of the county homeowners. I would not. But I guarantee you this, that is not the case now. As leaders of Butler County, we should set the standard. Let's take pride in our county's legacy of low taxes, home ownership, public safety, and family values to make our county a better place to live and work. Thank you, James Exton.
Peggy Abersole.
Amy, given the fact that the salary board went for an hour and there's budget presentation, I therefore wait today.
Mark Peninsky.
Good morning, Commissioner. I'll be quick. I do want to say my way in here, I saw the price of gas and sheets is $2.80 a gallon. I think that's great. I think we have it's supposed to average $2.60 a gallon next year. I think we have a lot to thank the drillers in Butler County and elsewhere in the country. We're now producing over 9 million barrels of oil a day in this country. It was 5 million not too long ago. I had a question about the morgue. Commissioner, I know there's no plan to build one, but if the county does build a morgue, it seems like we're going to need one. Is there any idea what the yearly operational cost would be? And then is there any idea, like you said, we might get funding from other counties? Okay, no idea yet. Okay, that's fine. I was just curious. Okay, about the salary thing. One thing that bothered me, you kept on saying we have a 2% cost of living increase, and that's what we were giving the employees. With the fall in gas prices and everything else that's going on, we really don't have much in the way of inflation. So to call it a cost of living increase, I don't know if that's the correct. The two positions that Commissioner McCare said about eliminating. Now, I believe the one's not going to be filled, if I understand that correctly. What's happening with the other one? That was my last question.
Nothing happening up there right now.
Nothing now. Is something going to happen? I hope. Please.
Well, I hope we address that soon, Mark.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Matthew Deck.
Good morning. You know, to go back about the salary meetings right here, you know, one lady there said it's not being fair that she was denied right there.
The purpose of this comment would be items on the commissioner's agenda, not the salary board.
Okay, we'll skip
That's
that one.
wait a minute, I don't understand it. That's a concern of the taxpayer.
I
The
would
salary
think
board
so.
He
issues are a
spoke to the
concern of the
salary board.
taxpayer.
He He spoke to the salary board. This is not a commissioner's meeting.
So he can't get up and talk
Not
about,
about the salary board issue. Not about
budget?
Okay, all right, well, let's just go right into another issue right here that I began to bring up. Perhaps I turned around and brought it up in a different light the last time I was here when you asked me to sit down, so I will rephrase it all together right here. One of my concerns as a taxpayer and a citizen is what would appear to be a form of rampant nepotism occurring in this county. And that most certainly is county business. It wasn't, actually it was years ago, as a matter of fact, that the United States Supreme Court ruled that private clubs and private associations, et cetera, were all guarded and protected by what is known as intimate association, which basically refers to the very same thing as a mother and a father, or a child and their siblings. And that extends to almost every sort of organization out there, from goofy groups like NAMBLA all the way to the Freemasons. But yet, nevertheless, if that such is the case, and when you start to read some of the objectives of some of these organizations, which are protected under intimate association, which brings them under the light of, once again, a form of nepotism. And there has been many attempts to turn around and reveal people's, how should we say, not only dissatisfaction, but even disgust with some of the occurrences that were occurring. And then you begin to read such things as, and this is right here, taken straight from a manual of something. You must conceal all the crimes of your brother Masons except murder and treason, and these by your option. And should you be summoned as a witness against a brother Mason, be always sure to shield him.
Matthew, you're out of order.
Don't tell the whole truth in this case.
Brian,
It's such a
take him out of
case.
here.
What is
Matt,
occurring?
this is not about the Masons.
I believe we need an investigation done in this county,
Then
because
have it
how
done.
many people are being controlled by such an organization?
Have it done.
That's your job.
That's all for public comment.
All right. Thank you. We have minutes from November 17th and November 19th. Is there a motion to approve these minutes? Is there a second? Those in favor say aye. 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 Opposed? Motion is carried.
We have no proclamations and certificates this morning, Commissioners. Under old business, we have one item. We're asking your approval of a revision in the adopted 2015 schedule of public meetings to correct the date of the January meeting for the Council on Drugs and Alcohol from January 2nd to January 20th, and also to correct the November date that plans are due in the Planning Commission from November 11th to November 10th. We ask your approval.
Is there a second? I will second it. Discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries.
Under new business, our first item is court administration. Tom Holman.
Morning, gentlemen. I have two quick things for you. First, I'm asking your approval of the addendum to the Scram-X agreement. The Scram equipment is that ankle bracelet we just put on detects alcohol use and used by our adult probation office. The new contract results in about a $5 per day reduction in cost, and the provision of technicians 3 half days a week to actually install the equipment. I ask your approval of this addendum.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries.
And then finally, I have before you a proposal for a contract for cleaning services at the Saxonburg Magisterial District Judge's Office with Denise Bellingham at $210 a month. I ask your approval of that contract.
So moved.
I'll second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion is carried.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Next, under facilities and operations, John Campbell.
All right, Commissioner.
Good morning, Tom.
First thing I have is approval of the ratification of
change order for the Government Center Annex project, the ratification of the November 26, 2014 construction change order directive for GC01, install tapered roof insulation and replace the already installed EPPM in the amount of $50,504.53.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Can I comment on that? I'd like to make, there's been some, I've got a few phone calls on this, and I've got phone calls and a letter to the editor. I'd like to, this is really important on the project. Look, I said, I really care about, I didn't vote for the new building, but I'm doing my due diligence on solving problems and making this go, okay? And I was going to, we can't, just make this clear. This $50,000 cost, we have an agreement that our Williamson and Tomlinson, our job supervisor, can keep the job going, and we can fight about the cost later, okay? I just want to make this clear. I checked this out with the solicitor. It doesn't mean just because we approve this $50,000 cost, that maybe some of the responsibility lies with other people that could be back charged. That's not what we're doing here. Our job is, the roof's leaking, there's no roof on it, they're out there putting it on today, the weather's inclement, the plumbers, the electricians, and everybody else has to get in there and work, and we can't stop the job. The prison went down, it was bad. We can't stop the progress, it hurts everybody, it would keep the contractors from making money. It doesn't mean, people misunderstood the fact that we ratified this, that our bill carriers volunteered to do this, and so is the solicitor. They're going to work on solving the problem. But this was written into the contract so we can keep the job moving. And we have to look at the big picture of the county commissioners, and that's exactly what we're doing here. And I wish people wouldn't think, you know, it's very important not to have a slowdown or shutdown on something that's so important to everybody. It's the roof. You know, we can't have this water running through the building. Okay, so we're going to work on this problem. People didn't quite understand what we were doing there, and I appreciate that, okay?
Those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Second thing I have is a ratification of the 2014 November 21st approval for PCO 12 to reslot the existing hole pattern and the shelf angle from the levels to raise the elevation to correspond with architectural openings in the amount of $5,809.80. This would then turn into change order GC04.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion, is there a second?
I'll second it. Yeah, you did it first?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll second it.
Those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Third thing I have is approval of PCO7 to install a floor drain in stairwell A in the amount of $2,487.53. And this would turn into change order PCO4.
What's the price again? I didn't get the price, Steve.
$2,400.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed a two. My apologize.
Okay, those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I don't
Motion
believe,
carries.
excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I don't believe you had a motion on the floor.
I'll make the motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Amy, for correcting.
Next thing I have is approval of PCO4 to relocate the elevator, machine room disconnect switches, and relocate and install for the amount of $1,752.51.
I'll make
This
the
will turn
motion.
into change order PCO1.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that. Can I have, the solicitor said something at the Monday's meeting that was very important to me. You know, he was keeping track of these change orders. Mike, could you say what you did at the Monday meeting?
Well, I don't want to misrepresent. I'm not necessarily keeping track of the change orders, but I did talk to our construction manager about where we are with the change orders.
Okay.
And what he informed me was between the total net positive on the change orders, because they're not all costing money, some of them save money, and the fact that the bid came in We got very good bids. We still, even with any of the things we've talked about here today, we are not into the even into the contingency fund. If you build a project like this, you know you're going to have things that come up, and you build that into the budget, and we haven't even hit that yet. So none of these things are coming. So my question was, how much is left in the contingency fund? He said 100%. It's all still there.
Right, no, that is terrific, you know, because we have to work out these problems. Thanks, Mike. Okay. Sorry I misstated that.
No, I didn't want to overstate what I was talking about.
No, you did state that when you talked to me about it.
Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Any excuse?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for John?
Thank
Caleb?
you.
All right.
Next, under Human Services, Area Agency on Aging, Beth Harold.
Good morning, Beth.
I'm asking for one item for your approval today. We are requesting the board's approval to enter into a new agreement, the Alliance for Nonprofit Resources for Integrated Planning and Programming Development. And this agreement has a maximum amount of $40,000. The term of the agreement is December 1st, 2014 to June 30th, 2015. There are no county funds involved, and payments will be made from the Aging Block Grant. This agreement will be to help cover with additional training that our staff is in need of, and to help plan programs for individuals over the age of 60 on financial abuse, advanced directives, living wills, and other topics that may be of interest to our population age 60 and over in the county.
Okay, is there a motion to approve this?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a
I'll
second?
second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries.
Can I have one moment, just since we are all
Sure.
being televised? If any individuals in the county...
We're not
Oh, we're not
televised.
televised anymore, I'm sorry. But if anybody in this room has anybody who's over 60 who needs repairs to their furnaces, heating assistance, simple home repairs, we have funding for that this year, and we would love if you ran an article about that. But even services in the community.
I'm over 60, could you shovel my snow?
We are looking into that, but we have funding available, and we're really looking for individuals in need of assistance, so.
In needs, point there, right?
Yes.
In need.
Yes, just please call our
He's
office,
pretty
we will
spry
get an
yet,
assessor
even
out
though he's
there.
older.
We know that there's individuals in need in the county, and we really want to get out there to help them, but we need everyone's help to identify those individuals.
Thank you. I was being facetious, but I do appreciate what you're doing, Beth. I really do. You're
No
doing
problem.
a great job for us.
It's just with the weather getting cold, I worry about people out there, and if you let us know, we will go out and assess them and make sure their needs are being met. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Beth, Hope Springs Eternal. Hope Springs Eternal at Armstrong, this meeting was changed,
Okay.
and I think they couldn't reconcile
No,
that in
no,
their
no, that's
schedule.
okay.
This meeting, the date was changed, and I think their
We're going to
schedule.
talk to Armstrong about running ads on their TV and report. So I didn't mean to interrupt, I just
Okay.
wanted to give you a call. Thank you.
Next, under Human Services, Children and Youth Agency, Ann Brown.
Morning, Ann.
Hi, Ann.
Commissioners, I'm asking approval of 4 contracts for Butler County Children and Youth Juvenile Probation Department for the fiscal year 14-15. They're with the Center for Community Resources, Family Services of Butler Memorial Hospital, Mid-Atlantic Youth Services, and Perseus House. Ask for approval of those 4 contracts.
I'll make the motion.
We have a second. I will second it. Discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next, I ask your approval of the appointment of Ronald Keston to the Drug and Alcohol Advisory Board. This is replacing Scott Wiskowski for a 3-year term. Ask your approval of that appointment.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries.
Next, I'm asking your approval of a contract amendment with Butler Memorial Hospital. This is to add the Engagement Specialist Program. This program will add a mental health engagement specialist to serve the Adult Health Choices members with mental illness, substance abuse, or co-occurring disorders involved with the team of healthcare professionals that work directly with the individuals in need of support to improve health outcomes resulting from COPD, heart failure, and heart attack. Ask your approval of that contract amendment.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That was an aye for me. I didn't say anything.
Next, I'm asking your approval of a contract with the Nonprofit Development Corporation. This is to conduct inspections of apartment units leased as part of our permanent supportive housing program that we administer. These programs are funded through grants we receive through the U.S. Department of Housing and urban development, and the corresponding regulations mandate that the apartments funded through these grants will be inspected to ensure that they meet the minimum housing quality standards. The contract is on a fee-for-service basis, with $150 paid for the initial inspection and $50 for the re-inspection if the unit is required to be fixed as a result of the initial inspection. We currently have about 40 apartments through these programs, so we're asking approval of that contract.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And lastly, I'm asking your approval to appoint Joyce Ainsworth to replace Carmine as the mental health intellectual disability representative on the Southwest Behavioral Health Management Board of Directors. This is our health choices management oversight.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ann.
Next, under information technology, Jim Venturini.
Morning, Jim.
I have to approve the annual support agreement with Butler Technology to modify the contract term with, to automatically renew it to 1 year in 1 year increment. The total cost for the renewal is $92,050.05. Butler Technology unit is the county core financial application and the county budget of its financial operations. The county will have the ability to terminate the contract 15 days prior to the end of the then current term if not satisfied with the cost of the then annual support. I ask for your approval on the agreement.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second
Those
it.
in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I also ask for approval on the 3-year renewal agreement with SCI Service Express Incorporated for our addition server hardware fee. This is the extended warranty agreement for the older server, in which the original factory service agreement has expired. The total cost for the year 2015 is $5,528.26, and for year 2016 and 2017, the total cost is $6,708 for each year. At any time, this contract can be terminated without penalty with a 30-day written notice. That's for your agreement.
Is there a motion? Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Jim.
Next, under the CDBG program, Wendy Leslie.
Good morning,
Good morning, Wendy.
First item I have, we're asking your approval to amend the cooperation agreement between the County of Butler, Jefferson Township, and the Redevelopment Authority. We will no longer pay a flat fee of $1,500 for home rehabilitation. The authority will now have to submit actual timesheets and expenses to be reimbursed. There will remain a cap on the fee per home at $1,500. But if there is justifiable circumstances that could up that fee, we will compensate them above the cap for their services. We ask for your approval.
Can I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next item, we're asking your approval of the 2014 Community Development Block Grant activities in the amount of $522,596 per the list of activities, and approved to submit to the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development the 2014 Community Development Block Grant application, and on behalf of the County of Butler, the entitlements of Jefferson Township and Penn Township, including the approval of the county's 3-year community development plan. We ask for your approval.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We ask your approval of Resolution 2014-26, Resolution of Filing. This is for the filing of the application of 2014 Community Development Block Grant funds for the county and the entitlements of Jefferson and Penn Township. This will also authorize the chairman to sign the applicable paperwork, including the statement of goals, the certification of community development plan, disclosure reports, statement of assurances, and all other applicable documents. We ask for your approval.
Is Is there a motion?
So
I'll make-
moved.
Okay, I'll second
I'll
it.
second. Done.
Jim made the motion, Dale seconded. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We ask your approval for adoption of Resolution 2014-25. This is for the Fair Housing Resolution to appoint Perry O'Malley, the Executive Director of the Housing Authority of the County of Butler, as the county's Fair Housing Officer. We ask for your approval.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? I will second it. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Motion carries.
And lastly, we ask for your approval to enter into a cooperation agreement with the entitlement municipalities of Jefferson Township and Penn Township for the administration of their 2014 Community Development Block Grant funds. We ask for your approval.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wendy.
Thanks.
Next, under the Planning Commission,
Morning, Joel.
Commissioners, I asked for your approval on two items this morning. The first is an amendment with our contract with the Department of Community and Economic Development to accept an additional $14,000 for the upgrade or update of our county comprehensive plan.
Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
The second I asked for your approval for is related to the Butler City Truck Study. This is an agreement with PennDOT to authorize us for electronic access to PennDOT's engineering and construction management system in order to administer the program. I ask for your approval.
So
I'll make that
moved.
motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
excuse me, I just wanted to point out that this is Resolution 2014-30 that you're adopting.
2014-30, okay.
Okay, there was a blank there.
Thank you.
I see it.
Thanks, Joel.
Under Commissioners, our first item is approval of renewal agreement with Metropolitan Life Insurance Company for the life insurance coverage offered to employees. The term of the agreement is January 1st, 2015 through December 31st, 2017, at a monthly rate of $1.71 per employee per month. That's no change from the previous contract. We ask your approval.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next, we ask your approval of the 8th Amendment to the December 7th, 1994 contract with the Housing Authority of Butler County for administration of the Emergency Residential Repair Program in the amount of $50,000 and to increase the administrative fee from $375 to $525 per project. We ask your approval.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Those in favor?
I'd like to comment on that.
Okay.
Look, as a county commissioner, this fee is going up. Look, I'll grant you, it hasn't been raised since '94, but they did it last year. You know, if I have a contractor or somebody, the ID department comes and they did it last year at a certain fee, how many times do we accept a 45% raise? I don't think that's fiscally prudent. 45% fee, I mean, how did it even exist last year? I mean, that is outlandish, and I'm voting no on that. You know, I'm not saying he doesn't need a raise, but 45% when they did it last year, I don't know. Better give me some more, better reasoning than that. Thanks.
Okay, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Motion carries.
Next, we're asking your ratification of the approval of the following reappointments to the Conservation District Board. Leroy Andrews, nominated to continue as Farmer Director. Michael D. Burgoon, nominated to continue as Public Director. And James Eckstein as Board of Commissioner Representative. We ask your approval.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next, we ask your approval to reappoint Bruce Mazzoni as the local elected official representative to the Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission for another 4-year term ending December 31st, 2018.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? I will second it.
I have a question here for the solicitor. Did you check out, there was a question at Monday's meeting whether this is a 4-year or 3-year term, and you know, I don't think it's fair to the other commissioners to do this.
did we
I didn't
decide?
look into the length of the term. I didn't think that was the question. I did look at the issue of whether the person served the full term or they could be removed. And the answer is that under the bylaws of the organization, that all appointees serve at the pleasure of the board and can be removed by a majority of the vote of the board at any time.
So we're not hamstringing the new board?
New board can come in and reappoint across the board.
Okay, that was my concern, because Lockheiser had his position before, so we're not, they can make the decision. We're not
Yes.
keeping them. Okay, thanks, Mike.
Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
Next, we ask your approval of a recommendation to award the 2015 tax anticipation note to the low-cost proposer, which is Next Tier Bank, in the amount of $7.5 million at 0.77%, a very favorable rate. We ask your approval.
And excuse me, this is actually approval of resolution 2014-29, which is in your, which was presented to you just shortly before the meeting.
We have a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
That was, correct me, that was lower than last year by 20,
Yes.
20, right?
Significant.
Yeah, right, thank you.
Next, we ask for your adoption of Resolution 2014-27, authorizing a temporary withdrawal of funds from the county operating reserve in an amount not to exceed $1 million. Under the statute, this is to counterbalance potential budget deficits resulting from shortfalls in anticipated revenues. That's quoting the statute. What this is related to is a temporary cash flow funding of the first payroll in January 2015 relative to the closing date of the 2015 tax anticipation note which you approved. We will not be able to close the tax anticipation note in time to have those funds available to fund the first payroll of the year. So this is a temporary, if needed, ability to use those funds from operating reserve, and then they will be immediately returned to operating reserve from the proceeds of the TAN. We ask your approval.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second, and I'd like to say that there's a pretty good chance we're not gonna have to do that. It's looking pretty good, so thank you for adding that.
Those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The motion carries.
Next, we ask your adoption of Resolution 2014-28 and approval of a cooperation agreement between the county and Iron Mountain Information Management LLC as a sub-applicant, whereby the county will serve in the capacity of a pass-through public applicant for receiving redevelopment assistance capital program funding in the amount of $2 million for the construction of the Iron Mountain Data Center and operation project. We ask your approval.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Ken, you're here. Did you want to address that in any way?
Just to comment that I'm Ken Raybuck with the CDC, Butler County. We're very fortunate that Iron Mountain's making this huge investment in Butler County, and the state recognizes the value also, jobs being created and money invested here. So they authorized, as long as the county agreed to be grantee, this $2 million grant. So it's going to be a top-of-the-line data center here in Butler County.
I would like to commend the CDC and our state legislators and the governor's office. We had them up there at Iron Mountain, I don't know how many times, I lost count, trying to convince them that this was a worthwhile investment for the people of Butler County. And I guess they must have agreed because of giving us this grant, but they will probably add, over the next few years, around 1,500 jobs, I think they told us, and spend about $500 million in new computers. And it's also going to create a byproduct in the fact that they have to have two 125,000 volt power lines coming in to run all this equipment, so it's going to be more money for the power company too. Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries.
Our last item, Commissioners, is presentation of the 2015 budget. Administration, I'm here to present that budget to you. The most important news is that the budget is in balance with no tax increase for 2015. Just as a broad overview of the budget, General millage will remain 20.688 mils. That's no change from 2014 or 2015. The debt service millage remains 3.94 mils. Again, no change from 2014 or 2013. The total current market value of real estate in Butler County is estimated at $15.28 billion. That's up about $2.58 billion or 20% over last year. Based on 100% of 1969 cost, the total assessed value for taxing purposes is $1,742,072,236. This is an increase of just under $25.5 million, or up about 1.5% from last year. 1 mil then represents $1,742,072 at gross. So our total estimated tax revenue for 2015 is $42,904,743 at gross. This is an increase of $628,000, again, about 1.5% over last year. For budgeting purposes, we are budgeting that tax revenue for 2015 at 95%, or $40,759,505. That allows for uncollected taxes and any significant reassessment appeals that are anticipated in 2015. Last year, we budgeted tax revenue at 96%. The 2015 total budget of all funds is projected to be $183,206,711. That's a net decrease of about $11.4 million from 2014, which is likely attributable to the fact that the county no longer operates Sunnyview Home. When you consider the tax revenue that's collected in relation to the total budget for the county, you can see that tax dollars are really leveraged to support almost $200 million in services provided to county residents. The 2015 general fund budget estimate is projected to be $60,783,966. That compares to last year's general fund budget of just over $60 million. That's up slightly, just about a little over 1% from 2014. The estimated general fund balance as of the beginning of 2015 is $6,767,582. That's a fairly healthy increase from the beginning of 2014, when the general fund balance estimate was $5.3 million. That's a positive development because for the last few years our fund balance has been declining. Looking at the county workforce, one major change in 2014 was the privatization of Sunnyview Nursing Home, the county-owned nursing facility. As a result, our county workforce has decreased almost 26% overall, from 761 full-time workers to 561, part-time workers 111 to 76, seasonal employees remain the same at 43, and the elimination of the jury commissioners' positions in 2014 reduced the number of elected officials from 14 to 12. This is just a chart that shows the changes in general purpose taxes from real estate over time. As you can see, it's mostly a slow and steady rise, and that represents the economic growth of Butler County as more businesses and residents move here and generate property revenue. You can see there is a spike from 2012 to 2013. That was the 1 mil tax increase that was necessary that year. And then the very slight increases in 2014 and 2015. Again, our county growth continues while the tax rate remains the same. So we're very fortunate to have a growing county, which has allowed the commissioners to keep property taxes low relative to surrounding areas. The commissioners have for a very long time supported such community agencies as public service organizations, the Flood Control Authority, the Butler County Children's Center, Voice, and the Army National Guard through contributions from the general fund. The largest single contribution is to BC3 at $4.92 million. The county also provides important funding to the Airport Authority, the Community Development Corporation, the Federated Library System, the Butler County Historical Society, the Penn State Extension Office, and to support farmland preservation in the county. I know this slide is very hard to read, but it is included in the budget documents and will be online. Just as a last slide, this shows you the relative proportion of people's overall tax bill that goes to the county. The county often takes it on the chin when it comes to property taxes that people pay. But this chart will show you that overall, the county taxes that taxpayers pay, all of us, are really a small proportion of the overall tax bill. It's an important takeaway for people to realize that when you consider all the services that the county provides to residents, it's still only 16% of your total tax bill, while school taxes are almost 3/4 of that total. So in closing, I'd like to note that the county's budget is a team effort. It takes the expertise and professionalism of all of our department heads, our elected officials, and their staffs to develop sound budgets, and for our assessment professionals to provide good estimates of revenue, and our fiscal people throughout the operations to pull it all together. It also requires a supremely intense team effort in our office to pull it all together for presentation to the board. And I'm deeply grateful for the help from Dawn Lusk, Terry Schnur, Chris Savage, and Debbie Bish for all of their hard work in putting this together. I'd also like to thank the commissioners for their confidence and support to put this together, because ultimately, this is your budget, and you make the tough decisions to manage it responsibly. As you know, the proposed budget will be on display for the next 21 days, with the adoption of the budget scheduled for Wednesday, December 31st at 10 a.m. The budget will be on display in the Commissioner's office, the lobby here of the Government Center, and the Law Library in the courthouse, and will be online on our website before the end of the day today at www.co.butler.pa.us. Thank you, and I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Amy. I commend you and the staff for working this. A lot of people have no idea how much work is into the budget, but I know you and Dawn and Terry were here, I think, last night till midnight, putting the final touches on this.
Thereabouts, and they were here longer than I was.
They were here longer than you. Dawn and Terry working this every year, many, many hours overtime, as does everyone who's involved.
Yes, their help is invaluable.
Any questions for Amy? Okay. Need a motion to approve the budgetary transfers. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion, those opposed, no. The motion is carried. I need a motion to approve the new hires.
Second.
Is there we have a motion and a second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. We need a motion to approve the travel requests.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. We need a motion to approve the requisitions.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion carries. We need a motion to approve the check register.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion carries. Tom?
I have nothing. I'll save it after the meeting.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Kayla?
No questions right now. Thanks.
Thank you. We need a motion to adjourn. I'll second. Never have a problem doing that motion.